What? Did he mix it?
All right, guys. Let's get you guys started. So, good morning, guys. Good morning. Let's get you going today. So, just to get you guys going today, we're going to continue with your personal profile, right? So, a couple things that we'll do with that today. Just want to give you a little reminder of on your personal profile here. So, yesterday we did passions and values. That was kind of our main focus. So, today will be personality traits, right? We're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk about roles, right? We're going to talk about a few other things today, right? Personality traits and strengths, also skills and aptitudes, and roles are going to be like the main part of what we're going to discuss today, right? So when we go through that, right, it'll be kind of not exactly similar, but other parts of what make up you, right? So that's really the focus of it, right? Is what really comprises yourself, right? What makes you unique, right? That's why we put this together anyway, right? I want to see the uniqueness of you, right? So hopefully all you guys have your Chromebooks already. If not, make sure you guys get that out. Sorry. But I have a question for you guys to answer to start off today. Just as a reminder, guys, Saturday Academy, I signed up for that, so make sure that if you'd like to get your 10 points of extra credit, come here for Saturday Academy. It's a good opportunity for you guys to earn your 10 points of extra credit there. 8 to 10 and 10:30, that's the time when I'll be in here, so yeah, take advantage of that, right, your opportunity. Right? You don't get a ton of them throughout the semester, right? That's really the only opportunity I give for extra credit, so just make sure you guys are able to do that, right, so coming at that time. All right, anyway, moving on from there. Answer this one in complete sentences and a paragraph, please. So I'd like at least 5 sentences, right? So what are your passions and values that you identified yesterday, right? Because we did that yesterday. We identified passions and values. And what do those passions and values say about who you are? Okay, so I want you to think about that. What are your passions and values that you identified yesterday? And what do those passions and values say about who you are? Okay, so take a little time to think about that. Go ahead and give your response. Right after those 5 minutes are up, I will go ahead and move on from here. Right, when you talk about passions and values, so after those 5 minutes are up, we'll go ahead and move on. We'll talk about, like I said, personality traits and strengths, skills and aptitudes, as well as roles. That'll be the main focus of today. But go ahead and answer this, guys. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. Go ahead and do that starting now. Go. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on from here, guys. We should have that question answered, so let's go ahead and move forward. All right, ready? All right, eyes, ears. All right, there you go. A little more awake. Definitely more awake than first and second period. Okay, anyway, right, so we were able to answer that question there. Please make sure, the guys, that we're bringing our laptop every day on a consistent basis, right? I do have some loaners, right, but I only have them in a limited capacity, and please, after you use them, make sure to plug them back into the charger, right? I did have a few that needed to do that today, and they did do that earlier in the day, so please continue that, right, later on in my day today, right? One thing I got to talk about really quick, because I did have a little bit of issue with this later, guys. Please make sure you have your phone, you got to put it in a pocket or backpack, right? I don't want to see that out, so please, right? I got to reiterate stuff sometimes, right? It's just stuff I got to do, so just understand that. Wait, guys, I think it said fourth period on yours. I think they might just send you back. I think it said fourth period. Yeah, they might just tell you come back. But anyway, so yeah, that was so like yeah, just letting you guys know that. Just give me a little reminder. Yeah, I think it says fourth period on there. So yeah, so if you went, they would just send you back. Okay, so yeah, so just make sure you bring that on a consistent basis, guys. Okay, so your sorry, I did that. But let's get back to your personal profile, guys. So show you what we'll do with this before we move on. Let's exit out of this real quick. Okay, but going back to your personal profile, guys. So one thing you guys can do with that actually now is go ahead and close up your Chromebooks, because we won't need those now. Go ahead and close those for me, close those. And if you have that same sheet of paper from yesterday that we started with, go ahead and take that out for me, because we'll need that today. If for some reason you weren't here yesterday, or if you don't have that sheet of paper, please let me know. I will give one to you. Who all needs one? You guys need one? Anybody else need one? You got one yesterday? All right, anybody else need one? Anybody else? Good? Okay. If you do need one, there are some more up here, that sheets of paper that you can grab. Okay, so let's get back to your personal profile here, guys. So with this, just want to give your, well, we're going to go back through what we already did yesterday. I'll draw a couple cards about, passions and values. We'll talk about that, and then we'll jump to, like I said, personality traits and strengths, as well as skills and aptitudes, and then finally roles that we'll discuss today, right? So we'll get to each one of those as we go through today. Let's start with your personal profile here. Let's get going with that first. So you guys can, well, you're still going to be your personal profile number 1. So remember, like what we're doing with this is we're building what your profile should look like, right? We're talking more about you, right? Kind of how you identify yourself, right? All your personality traits, all your strengths, all your passions, values, roles, skills, everything that's implemented into that, right? We're all putting that together, right? So that you can more easily figure out what you would like to do for a career in the future, right? You identify what suits you best. That's the whole point of doing this. So remember, my learning target was I can identify the many layers of qualities and characteristics that make up my unique identity by writing and discussing using Cornell notes. So remember, this was yesterday's and it'll go into today's, but the essential question is going to be a little different. You guys will see that as we go through. Yesterday's was passions and values specifically, right? Today's, like I said, personality traits and strengths, skills and aptitudes, and roles. We're going to get to those three today. Yesterday, specifically passions and values. Today, a little different how we approach it. So you guys will see that as we go through right here. Oh, and I do want to give you guys a reminder on Thursday this week. Don't be shocked by it or anything. I'm going to have Mr. Rogers is coming in because he's going to do basically an evaluation of me, right? He's assistant principal, so he's going to come in on Thursday. So I just want to make everybody aware of that that's what's going on. So he's going to come in on Thursday, he's doing a little evaluation. So what I do in class, right, I just ask you guys, like, we follow through with it, right? Just, it's not for you guys, it's for me, right? They have to do it with every teacher, right? So just know that he's going to come in, he's going to do an evaluation of me on Thursday. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. And he'll be in here during third period on Thursday. Okay. Just making you aware of that. All right, anyway, passions and values, right? That was yesterday. We're going to today, which is basically personality traits and strengths, skills and aptitudes, roles. So yesterday, I had you guys write your 3 of your own passions in your Cornell notes there, right? You wrote 3 things that you are most passionate about, right? And there's some examples like music, video games, sports, books, art, makeup, animals. There's plenty of examples of those, right? But remember what I talked about with passions? Basically, a passion is something you feel very strongly about. Something for which you have boundless enthusiasm, right? You might be passionate about music, sports, art, computers, horses, cars, gardening, politics, the beach, marching bands, penguins, you name it. The happiest people are often those who find a way to incorporate their passions into their careers. These are the people you'll hear say things like, I can't believe they paid me to do this, right? So those are the people right there that, they really enjoy what they do. If that is one of their passions, if they say like, wow, I can't believe they actually pay me to do this, they are very passionate about what they do for a living, right? So that makes it so that they can really enjoy what they do, right? So it makes a huge impact on them for sure, right? So when it comes to passions, that's just something to think about right there. Something that you guys can reflect on. But that was passions, we talked about that yesterday, right? Now, I will draw a few cards for this, but I want you to share with me, right, from what you wrote with your passions yesterday. So if I draw your card, tell me a passion that you have and why you are so passionate about it. I'll probably get like 3 of you right here. Let's go with, how about Jonathan Hernandez right here? What do you think? What's a passion you have? Why are you passionate about it? Okay, so why are you passionate about school? Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, you could say that. It's like it puts you on the track to get there, right? It does, but I mean, yeah, it does. So you can be passionate about it, right? Now, I don't think everybody in here is passionate about it. Like, it's just the way it is, right? And like for instance, me going to work every day doesn't mean I love going to work, right? But I know that I need to be here. It's really important that I'm here really every day, right? That's an important value. Yeah. So I know how important that really is, right? But in that case, I can understand where you're coming from with that. So that could be a passion, right? If you really feel that way, right? All right, let's get somebody else. Let's go with another passion. Let's go with, how about Victoria right here? What's a passion you feel like you have? Okay, so traveling could be a passion, right? Because you get to go to new places, you get to see new things, right, that you haven't seen before. So, so traveling could be a passion of yours, right? So that's a good way to be able to look at that. I like that. Okay, let's get somebody else. Let's go with, how about another passion? Let's go with, how about Emma right here? What's a passion you feel like you have?
Helping people.
What's that?
Helping people.
Okay. Why is helping people one of your passions?
Because I don't like people feeling sad or
Okay, so it's difficult, like you're saying, it's difficult to see somebody upset or sad or going through something, right? So you want to be there to help them, right? You want to be a positive influence for them. So that's definitely a good way to look at it. That could be a definite passion of yours, right? So I like that. It's a good way to look at it. Okay, let's get one more, or actually let's move on from passions. And we also talked about values, right, yesterday, right? So our values were knowledge, family, security, independence, creativity, money, friendship. Those are some values that you could choose, but you also could come up with some on your own, right? So those are just some examples that you could have chosen, right? So you wrote 3 of your own values that you feel like are most important to you. And then I gave an example, right? I gave a definition of what values are. Remember, your values are those qualities or things that are most important in your life. Some people may value family or security, while others place more importance on venture or power. You might value beauty, knowledge, social justice, or independence. Your career and life choices should be compatible with your values if they are to bring true satisfaction. So basically what that means at the end is that whatever you value most, it should line up with whatever career that you want. So I used that example of family yesterday, right? If family is one of your values, right, then whatever you do for a living, you need to be able to see your family consistently, right? If that is really, really important to you, you need to have a career in which you can see your family like almost all the time, right? That needs to be a priority for you, if that's a value, right? If your value is money, right, then you need to find a career where you can make a lot of money, right? If that's something that you value a lot, right? So it depends on what your values are, what are most important to you, that decides how you choose your career, right? That's the point I'm trying to make with that, okay? So I'm gonna draw a few cards. I want you to tell me, what is a value you feel like you have, and then why do you have that particular value? Let's go with, how about Mariah right here? What's a value you feel like you have? Okay, honesty. Okay, why do you feel like you have that value? Okay, because you want others to be able to trust you. So honesty that's a great value to have, right? It really is, right? Because if you're a very trustworthy person, you're going to be a lot easier to work with, right? Because you'll be able to get your job done the way you're supposed to. You're going to be able to perform the way you're supposed to. So honesty definitely is a good value to have, right? I think everybody can appreciate that. Okay, let's get like a couple more. Another value. Let's go with how about Emiliano? Emiliano's right? What do you think? What's a value that you have? Something that's most important to you. Okay, family. Why is family something really important to you? Why are they so important? Like what makes family like really like stand out and just be of a ton of importance to you? Okay, so they maybe help you try to succeed, right? Maybe that's what family is there for, right? So if family does do that, they help you along the path of life. You feel like they are valuable, right? They have a sense of value, okay? So that's another good way to look at that there. Okay, let's get at least one more, another value. Let's go with, how about Melissa right here? What do you think? What's a value you feel like you have? Okay, so why is family so important? Okay, the fact that family is always there for you, that also makes family valuable, right? It makes it so that, you can always depend on them. And honestly, that's what you need in a value. A value has to be dependable, right? Whatever value you have, you should stick to that, right? And obviously, values are going to change sometimes. They're not going to stay the same. I'm not going to tell you guys that. But overall, right, you still need to try to stick to whatever value you started with, right? You still need to try to stick to it the best you can. Okay, moving on from here now. So we're going to talk about personality traits and strengths. So personality traits and strengths here. So what I want you guys to do now is on your sheet right there in your notes. Please write 3 of your own personality traits and strengths in your notes that you think you're already good at, right? Or that, I'm sorry, not that you're good at, but that you already possess, right? So whether it could be loyal, it could be adventurous, outgoing, sensitive, dependable, competitive, respectful, right? And that's the essential question right there. What are my personality traits and strengths? So here's some examples of that I can show you guys. So are you tactful, bold, sociable, quiet, thoughtful, energetic, funny, sympathetic, inquisitive, reserved, dramatic, intelligent? Hopefully you're able to list those traits there that you feel like that you possess, right? So I'll give you a second to think about that. But those personality traits and strengths make up who you are, right? They hold major importance to who you are and to who you can be. Right? Personality traits and strengths, they're pretty important to have. Definitely important. They make you who you are. They make you unique. Right? Everybody in here I know wants to be somewhat unique. Doesn't want to, be a copy of somebody else. They want to be unique. They want to be different. In some ways, right? Maybe not every way. So, when Manuel comes back. Okay. Okay, so now that you guys got a chance to go ahead and write that down, hope you're able to write those 3 down. If you're still writing, you can still do that. But I'll give you an opportunity now to turn to a partner, because I know you have somebody sitting right next to you, and I'll put you guys in partners if you don't know, and go ahead and discuss with them your personality traits and strengths that you have, and why you have those personality traits and strengths. Okay, so I'll give you guys a chance to discuss with a partner, and then we'll draw some cards, and we'll talk about it as a class here. Okay, so right now, I'll have like you 2 go together, and then let's do like you 2 right here, you 2 there. You guys turn back to back. A, B, A, B, A, B, and you guys go a 3 right there. And then, okay, so then just do A, B right here, A, B here. You guys can go a 3, and you guys come back to back. All right, so 1 minute to talk about that with the partner, and then we'll talk about it as a class. All right, ready? Go. Go ahead, turn to your partner.
It's not wrong.
What do you guys think? What's a personality trait?
I'm 2.
Okay, caring. So what makes you caring? Like if you can point to one thing, like how do you make others feel like they care about it? Okay, there you go. That's a good way to look at it. It's important. What do you guys think? What's a personality trait you feel like you have? What's that? Yeah, you can say multiple, yeah. Thoughtful, okay. What makes you thoughtful? Okay. All right, so it makes you thoughtful. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So you guys got a chance to discuss that with a partner. Let's go ahead and draw a few cards to talk about this together here. Okay? So let's start with personality traits and strengths. I'll draw a couple cards for this one. So tell me a personality trait or strength you feel like that you have. All right? So let's draw a card. Let's go with, and then you got to tell me why and give me an example of how you've used that personality trait or strength. Let's go with, how about Tristan right here? What do you think? What's a personality trait or strength that you have? Okay, so why do you think you're respected? Okay, can you give me an example of a time when you did that? Okay, so you like in class, like consistently, you're somebody that like, if somebody's speaking to you, you're gonna try to listen at least the best you can, right? So that obviously shows a good level of respect, right? And I know a lot of people look for that, right? But in that case, that shows a good level of respect. If you consistently show that, right, that can take you a lot of places in your life, right? Showing that level of respect could put you in the right position to succeed, right? I think it can. Okay, let's go with somebody else, another personality trait or strength. Let's go with, how about Macy right here? What's a personality trait or strength? Okay, why do you think you're competitive? Okay, give me an example of a time we did that. You don't have to be like really specific, but okay. So like a soccer game, right? You get after it, right? You're like, oh, maybe aggressive when you need to be, right? So that could make you definitely competitive, right? And honestly, being competitive is a very good character trait, very good personality trait, right? Because, you know, if you're really competitive, you want to beat out others all the time, right? That could move you a little bit higher, right, than others if you're very competitive, right? You want to compete, you want to get the position, right? You want to get the job, you want to be in that career that you want to because you're competitive against others, right? Maybe even you work harder. And that's what competitiveness does a lot. It gets you to work harder, right? So I think competitiveness is definitely a good trait to have, definitely a good personality trait. All right, let's get somebody else. Let's go with, how about Luke right here? What's a personality trait or strength you have?
Also funny.
Okay, so what makes, like, why do you think you're funny?
Also comment making jokes on the spot.
Okay, give me an example of a time we did that. You got a joke? How about this? You got a joke for me?
Like, give me some material.
So when you say material, like, what do you mean? Do you mean like, what do you mean material?
Just like, I don't know, just say something and like, I'll try to make it feel better.
Okay. It's an interesting one. So I could say like, how about make a joke about, like, okay, what's your favorite sport? How about that?
Favorite sports?
You're a water polo player, right? Right?
I couldn't, no, it's not my favorite sport.
Okay, but you, okay,
When
let's
you're on the
just,
sidelines, you're miserable, you're wet. It's a horrible feeling.
so there you go, right? So there you go. Hey, you made a little something out of that, right? So you gave me a good example there, right? So you got a little something out of that, right? So yeah, so not bad, right? So yeah, if you think you're funny, right, you can give that little quote, right, and that can kind of you can give a good example of that, right? So not bad, right? And I know a few people laughed, so it was good. Yeah, a good little invitation there. Okay, so so like hopefully we got the idea of personality traits and strengths, right? I wanted to get that across to you guys. I think we did get a better idea of what that's supposed to mean and how you can actually have applied that in your own life, right? Okay, so let's talk about skills and aptitudes first before I move on. So what skills and aptitudes are, I want you to think about it this way. It's just like, what have you learned? What's something that comes easily for you? Right? Do you have a special talent for anything in particular? Are you good at working with your hands, solving problems, working with people? What's something you're already good at right now? So that's a skill or aptitude. That's something you're already good at right now. So when it's a skill or an aptitude, right, that's something that you kind of already possess, something that you're already good at. Whatever skill that might be. Let's say you're a good athlete, so you have good hand-eye coordination. That's a skill. That's a skill that you can definitely have. Right? So that's just an example of that I can provide for you guys, right? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next part here. Actually, I'm sorry. So before we get to, all right, let's get to this one. So go ahead and write 3 of your own skills and aptitudes in your notes there. So what are 3 skills that you feel like you possess right now? Some things that you're already good at. Go ahead and write those down that you think you're already good at. 3 things that you think you're good at right now. There's some up there for you already, right? Just an example. Yeah. There's some that are already up there. Oh, sorry. They're already up there for you. There's like communication. There's active listening, writing, speaking, problem solving, decision making, teamwork. But if you you can use some of those, but I want you to try to come up with some on your own. When it comes to skills and aptitudes. go ahead and take an opportunity to think about that. Okay, so we should have got those skills and aptitudes basically figured out already, right? That one should have been accomplished. So with skills and aptitudes, let's get to the next part here. Let's go ahead and now you guys can turn to your partner and discuss with them what your skills and aptitudes, what you think that you already possess or what you already have in terms of skills and aptitudes, right? So you got your partner sitting right next to you, you know who they are now. So go ahead and discuss for 1 minute the skills and aptitudes that you feel like you have, and then why you feel like you have those skills and aptitudes. I give you 1 minute to discuss that. Ready? Go. Go ahead. Turn to your partner. Okay. Oh, you're like, just kind of push the What makes you good? Okay, it does. Then, like, are you always able to do, like, if somebody's asking you to do something, are they always able to perform that? Most of the time? Okay. There you go. Okay, so we got skills and aptitudes down, right? We should have been able to discuss that one already. So let me draw a few cards for that one. Excuse me. In regards to skills and aptitudes, what's a skill or aptitude that you feel like you already have? All right, let's go with how about? How about Marie right here? What's a skill that you feel like you already have?
Working with others.
Okay, what makes you like? Why do you think you're good with working with others?
So I can get the best and properly communicate.
Okay, give me an example of the time where you did that.
On project in one of my classes.
Okay, so you're able to like communicate well, be able to like kind of differentiate who's doing each task, like something like that. Okay, cool. So definitely working with others is a skill. Honestly, I guarantee that everybody in here needs to gain at some point, right? Because it doesn't matter what job you have, it doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna have to learn to work with others. Even if you're working from home sometimes, you're gonna have to learn to work with other people. That's just a fact of life, right? So it's definitely a good skill to have, be able to learn to work with others, right? For some people, it's easier than others, right? But once you learn how to do it, right, that skill can take you to just about any part of life. So it's a good skill to have. All right, so let's get somebody else. What's another skill that you feel like that you have? Let's go with how about somebody I haven't chosen yet. How about Alex right here? What do you think? What's a skill you feel like you already have? What's that? Okay, why is problem solving a skill for you? Or how have you shown the ability to solve problems? When have you problem solved? Okay, so there's a good example of that. When you're playing games, right, you got to figure out, okay, how do I end up winning, right? Or how do I get to the next level? Whatever the case is, right? So that could be an example, right, of how to problem solve. Because if you're able to solve problems quickly, right, in that case in the game, right, then you can eventually work to the next level, or you can win, whatever you need to do in that particular game, right? So that is another skill that you feel like you already possess, right? All right, let's get somebody else, another skill that you feel like you already have. Let's go with, how about Francisco right here? What do you think? What's a skill you feel like you have? Okay. Or like, why do you feel like you have that skill?
Because certain places, like, I go to college, by knowing more songs, like, walking through.
Okay, so and then you learned the song, you played it, right? Okay, cool. So there you go. There's a good example right there, right? Learning things like, like in that case, we'll play music, right? So that is that's something that's definitely a skill. You got to learn that, right? It's not something that just comes naturally. That's something you kind of learn over time, right? You learn each part of it, right? So definitely a skill. If anybody plays an instrument, that's definitely a skill that you've learned, right? Because I feel like that, you have to put in time to be actually good at it. So that's definitely a skill which you've learned, right? Okay, so moving past skills and aptitudes now, we're going to get to roles. So what I want you guys to do now is write down 3 of your own roles in your notes there. So roles is a little bit different, right? So roles are more like, for instance, everybody in here is a student. So you all play that role at least, right? But some of you, I think everybody, you have a friend, brother, an athlete, a son, a girlfriend, a sister, right? There are many other things, many other roles that you can play, right? So I want you to think about that. Think about your roles there and the roles that you do play, all right? Here's a little definition to help you out with this. So your roles are different parts you play in your life, right? So they're just different parts that you end up playing, right, that are, throughout your life. Most of these are temporary, though some go on for many years. So some can be kind of short, can be temporary, right? You're only a student for so long, right? But once you're not, right, like let's say one go on for many years, like for instance, right, you're always going to be a son or a daughter, right? You're always going to be that, right? Now, for instance, a role like being a boyfriend or girlfriend might not be forever, right? It might only be a certain amount of time, right? So it just kind of depends on that. For instance, but a role of being a brother or sister, that's going to continue, right? You're always going to be a brother or sister, right? So there's some roles that are temporary, and there's some that go on for a long time. So you might be a spouse, a son, a daughter, a student, a friend, right? You also may be an employee, an employer, a volunteer, a sister, a brother, a girlfriend or boyfriend, and so on and so forth, right? There's many different roles that you can play, right? So like I said, you could be, a spouse, somebody that you're married to, son or a daughter, you're always going to be that. A student, you're only going to be that for so long. And then a friend, right? You're going to have multiple friends, right? But you might only have, certain friends for a certain period of time, right? And then like be an employee or employer, so you work for somebody works for you. If you're volunteering, like as a sister or brother, you're basically always going to be that. And a girlfriend or boyfriend could be temporary, right? So you don't know. But those are just examples of what roles you could play, right? So hopefully you got down your 3 roles. So one more time, I want you guys to turn to a partner here and go ahead and discuss with them the roles that you feel like you play and why you play those roles, okay? Go ahead and do that for the next minute here, and then we'll talk about it with the class. All right, go ahead and discuss your roles and why you play those roles. All right, 1 minute, ready? Go ahead. Discuss with your partner about the roles there. Your brother? Okay. How have you shown being a good brother? Like how have you done that? But like, what's the way you did that? Okay. There you go. How have you? What role do you play? Okay. How have you been a good sister? Okay, so you listen, like she's got some kind of issue going on with those problems. You guys think what kind of role do you play? What kind of role do you play? Okay, so how have you been a good son? All right, there you go. Playing that role, right? Okay, so sorry. Then let's get to, now that you guys got a chance to discuss that with the partner, I'll draw a few cards and we'll talk about this one together. So when it comes to playing certain roles, right? What is a role that you feel like you definitely play? Let's draw a card for this. What's a role you feel like you play? And then why do you play that role? Or how do you play that role? Let's go with, how about, Manuel Duran right? What do you think? What's a role you feel like you played before? Or that you play now? Okay. So how have you shown being a good brother before? Okay. So like when your parents aren't there, right, you're there to be there with them, is that what you mean? All right, cool. So there you go. So that is a way in which you played that role, right? And being a brother, which honestly, in that case, right, I know I have a brother, so like for me, I'll always be a brother, right? Like that will always be the case, right? So, I mean, in that case, you can kind of tell, you can see that situation there. You can see how that plays out. Okay, let's get somebody else, another role that you feel like you play, and why and how you know you play that role. All right, let's go with, how about Joel right here? What do you think? What's a role you feel like you play? Okay, so how have you shown being a good brother before? Okay, so like you take a little time, right? Like when your parents aren't there, maybe. All right, so little sister, I assume, right? Okay, so definitely like you got to be able to do that a lot of times, right? So if you're in a situation where parents aren't there for one reason or another, right? You might be in a situation where you got to take care of a younger sibling, right? That's a role that you play, right? Kind of a babysitter, right? Because you're there to be able to watch over them, make sure they're eating right, they're going to bed on time, right? Whatever you got to do, right? But you're there in that situation to be able to watch over them, right? So it's a good way to put it in terms of a role, okay? All right, let's get one more person, another role that you feel like you play and why you play that role. Let's go with about Jeremiah right here. What's a role you feel like you play? Okay, so how have you shown being a good son before?
I help my mom
Okay, so like with anything specific you help her with?
in the house.
All right, so cleaning, right? So maybe like you help your mom, right, when she needs to clean around the house, right? That's a role that you play. You've been able to show that by, your behavior and how you reflect on that, right? By helping her clean the house, right? So that's a way in which you've shown playing that role. Okay, guys. What's that? So, yes. So we will turn this in today, guys. So please make sure you put your names on those. And you guys can turn them in to my third Fury trays, the blue tray for you guys. We'll continue tomorrow. We're actually going to recover passions and values. Move on to something new for tomorrow.